Look, my life started as a refugee. I was 5 years old. I was standing outside of a concentration camp holding my mom's hand. She was passing food through a guard to my dad. That's how it started.
Welcome to Divine Time, where purpose meets presence. A real conversations lead to real transformation. I'm your host, Danli Divine. Here we speak truth, we heal openly, and we grow intentionally. Every episode is rooted in love, guided by spirit, and created to uplift your mind, your heart, and your soul. This isn't just a podcast, it's a movement, a safe space for the awakened, the healing, and the seekers of truth. So whether you're here to be inspired, challenged, or seen, you've arrived right on time. Divine Time. Now let's tap in. Today on Divine Time, we're honored to welcome an extraordinary guest whose life is nothing short of inspirational. Christian Ray Flores is a high-performance coach, entrepreneur, international recording artist, and philanthropist whose journey has touched continents, industries, and hearts around the world. From fleeing political unrest as a child refugee in Chile to rising as a pop star in Eastern Europe. We're going to hit on that more. Christian's story is a powerful testament to resilience, reinvention, and purpose-driven impact. With a master's degree in economics and fluency in 4 languages, he's helped build startups, advised visionary leaders, and raised millions for mission-driven ventures. Christian is the co-founder of Third Drive Media, creating content that inspires and drives innovation, and he leads Exponential, where he helps high achievers unlock peak performance and deeper meaning in their lives. He's also the host of Headspace by Christian Ray Flores, his name, and author of Little Book of Big Reasons to Love America, inspiring audiences worldwide with his insights on leadership, mindset, and living an extraordinary life. Please help me welcome the dynamic and deeply insightful Christian Ray Flores to the Divine Time podcast. Marco.
Hey, how are you, brother?
Pretty good.
That's a good intro.
I try. The floor is yours, sir.
Well, what do you want me to start?
Speak about anything you are comfortable with, starting from the beginning, things that you have gone through to where you are now.
Well, yeah, so I guess maybe that's an origin story is probably a good start. It's very confusing, but I'll make it quick, and then you can we can go into any rabbit hole you'd like.
Okay.
I'm
taking notes, so just be mindful. You said it, all right?
I did.
Okay.
So I was I'm a mutt, right? So my mom is Russian, my dad's Chilean. I was born in Moscow. We moved to Chile when I was a baby, literally maybe 6 months old. I have to actually ask him. I keep saying exactly when, but I think I was super young. And then we moved there. We were it would be basically the rest of our lives would be in Chile. Until there was this massive civil unrest there. They overthrew the government, military coup, arrested tens of thousands of people, tortured, killed a bunch of people, put a bunch of people in concentration camps. My dad was one of them, and because he was backing the former government. And we ended up being the lucky family who didn't lose anybody. He was released. We were in a refugee facility, United Nations refugee facility for a while. It was pretty crazy stuff, right? So you basically lose everything and you start over. So we ended up in Germany. They gave us, they were incredibly generous with us and welcoming. Then back in Russia for a bit. Then my dad got a contract in Africa, so I moved to the 4th country by age 7 and 3rd continent, Mozambique, Maputo, Mozambique, which is southeast Africa. And that's where I grew up. So I spent my young years all the way to my teenage years there. It was amazing. But also there was a civil war there when I was there, so we saw bombings and stuff like that. And we ended up again starting over. My parents got a divorce, and I ended up in the Soviet Union, mid-80s. That was like the worst time to be there. Really, things were going downhill pretty quickly, and so we ended up, starting over. Pretty poor. Everybody was poor. We were pretty poor. 1-bedroom apartment. I slept in the kitchen. That sort of poor, right? And it all turned dramatically up when, after I graduated college, the country literally collapsed. The Soviet Union collapsed, ceased to exist. There were tanks in the streets again, There was an attempted coup that failed. And everybody, all of my buddies went into sort of normal professional tracks, finance, banking, trade, things like that. And I went into music. And the reason I went into music is my whole life I've been a singer, a dancer, a creative. And I just never thought of it as a profession until everything collapsed. And I'm like, you know what? Everything's collapsed anyway. Might as well try. And basically within a year, I was on national television. And just like that, I became one of the top pop stars in all of those 15 countries of the ex-Soviet Union. And the rest is history. So that's the quick version of the origin story.
I mean, we've got time, but so let's flow into a conversation. How did you, moving around how you did and seeing these conflicts, how did that impact you?
It impacted me. Well, it was scary and disorienting, obviously, right? And yet it also was a huge blessing. Mm-hmm. Because basically what happened was I was able to develop a lot of flexibility. I became almost like a sponge for culture, because imagine like 3-4 more different countries, like you could possibly imagine, like Chile, Germany, Russia, Africa, like all language, culture, everything's different. So as a kid, you want to fit in. When you want to fit in, you start learning at an accelerated rate. So it sort of became the superpower in me that I could absorb. I could first of all read people. I could learn mannerisms, intonations, what they meant, cultural nuance very, very quickly, because it was like a matter of survival for me as a kid. So instinctually, it sort of instilled this new programming in me. And that really helped in everything downstream, right? I moved to another country again and start over. We moved to the States, and people that move to the States can sometimes, they stay in their little immigrant bubble or something like that. And I'm just not like that guy. I assimilate. I welcome the culture. I learn from the culture. I don't want to be isolated from it. I want to be like the culture. So that became a huge advantage for me. Obviously, life experience, massive advantage, right? It's when you go through a lot quickly early on, you mature much quickly, right? So I became like this old soul, like too advanced in understanding of the big things for somebody that young, because I've seen so much drama back to back to back to back. What else? I think it really helped me also understand the value of standing out, because I couldn't fit in anywhere. I was a foreigner everywhere, right? So like I was like this person without a home, without a belonging. And basically at some point, I don't know exactly when that happened. I think it was maybe right before I started doing music, maybe even before that, honestly, because I was breakdancing, I was singing, I was this weird kid, right? Like in the Soviet Union, that was not normal, right? I would stand out. And I think I basically switched from, look, if I can't fit in, I'll stand out. And I'll find my individuality as the thing that takes me through life. And that happens to be the secret to any business success. Like I coach people in developing their personal brand, which is literally that, is how do you find in your life, in your skills, even in your life experience, cultural context, a unique blend of things that can be offered to the world and be extremely valuable. So like you create a category of, and that's basically what I do for a living now, right? And that was formed back then, and I think it was formed of understanding, hey, I don't fit in anywhere. I'll just stand out. And I don't know when it clicked, I don't know how it clicked, but it did. So that basically gave me even the first success. It's like the popular music landscape is this. I'm going to create something that is so unique for this space. I was into R&B and pop and hip hop. In the Soviet Union, nobody did that. Like there were a few people attempting to do it in a very lame way, but I had it in my blood, right? I grew up on jazz and blues and black music, basically, right? And that was sort of that was in my veins. So instead of fitting in with what the lead artists were doing, I created this sound. It was New Jack Swing, and it was Bobby Brown kind of style, Michael Jackson kind of style. No one did that. But I was like, this is me. I'm going to just do me. And it turned out that thing that I created became very popular, and there was an appeal, and people loved it. So from then on, I learned that lesson, is that in whatever space you are, You have to find your own mix of things, because that's the thing that makes you, gives you the competitive advantage, the uniqueness. That's the thing that gives you the ability to be indispensable in a space, in an industry, in any environment.
That is dope. Sorry, I was writing something down that you just I wouldn't say you just taught me, but reconfirmed something that I used to do when I was younger. Now, tell me a little bit about the high performance coaching that you do.
Basically, I help people develop their personal brand. To develop a personal brand, you have to become a high performer, because you can't be in a creative space if you're stressed out all the time, right? You can't be in a creative space if you're easily swayed by problems and difficulties and obstacles. You have to find a lifestyle that supports high creativity, high joy, high clarity. Those are the materials from which you develop your edge, which is the competitive edge, the specific thing. Then you can then productize, monetize, and put out into the world and serve more people in more impactful ways. So that's essentially the high performance piece, okay? So three pillars. I call it fuel, edge, brand.
Fuel, edge, brand. Feb. Sorry. Okay. It's interesting. I find it very interesting that I'm talking to you right now, because the things that you're speaking about are things that I've been battling with lately.
Is that right? Okay.
Yeah, I'll talk a little bit more into that later. But how did you end up learning 4 languages? What languages are they?
I didn't have a choice. I spoke Spanish and Russian at the same time since birth. As a matter of fact, you can't see it behind me, but at the very bottom, you can see that little rectangle at the very bottom of my thing. Though that's like a yellow piece of paper now, because it's aged, and it's words. The first words I spoke in Russian, and the first words I spoke in Spanish. My mom wrote it down, so I still have it for you. Yeah, so that was from birth, right? And then when we moved to Africa, they just straight up put me in an African school, like all black kids. I'm the only non-black kid, right? And I literally didn't speak a word. So they just threw me off the deep end going, okay, go learn, right? And I was there basically in a year. I learned Portuguese. That's their sort of state language. And then after that, they put me in an English school. That's a little bit of a fancier school for expat kids and diplomat kids. And everything is in English. So I literally, in 2 years, I learned 2 languages. But it was by full immersion, right? So you don't have a choice. It's tough, but you don't have a choice. And also, when you're young that way and you want to fit in, you learn. You're like a sponge, right? So yeah, by age 9, I spoke 4 languages. So I cheated, essentially, because I didn't really have to work for it too much. I was like, okay, swim, basically. That was it.
That's pretty dope. I mean, there's a lot of people in the world who don't speak even really 2 languages, and you got to do 4.
Yeah.
Spanish, Russian, Portuguese, and English. So English was your last language?
My last one, yeah. That was my 4th language.
Oh, dang. And you sound so fluent. Like,
well, yeah. Well, I started early, but I still had an accent for a while. I had a British accent for a while. I had all these words that are, because the school was British. So eventually I married an American, right? And Deb, my wife Deb, this was like, I was 30 when I got married. And she was like, yeah, we don't say it like that. And so she started Americanizing my English. And then, of course, we spoke it in the house. Then we moved to the States, 21 years ago. So, and then I'm a pastor. I speak 2, 3, 4 times a month. Like, imagine that, like for 21 years, you speak 3 or 4 times in public in English. So you don't have a job if you don't learn how to do it well.
That is true. I mean, if you're doing entrepreneurship, yeah, you won't have a job if you don't do it well. But I'm like, if you think about all the other people who are just working a regular 9 to 5, there's a lot of people who are just there collecting a paycheck and they're not doing the job well. So
that's true. Yeah, that's true.
So exponential. I'm sorry, I mess up some words, and that one I'm having a difficult time. Like, I can't even say Massachusetts. That's what I say, but the states
Massachusetts, yeah.
Some people have a hard time with spaghetti. I can say that, but there's other words I have a difficulty with. Exponential. All right, I'm gonna have to practice that some more. I don't know why it's not rolling off my tongue like how I feel it should. Tell me a little bit about exponential. What inspired you to do that?
So exponential, I like the word because basically the idea is that you can, exponential is this growth, right? That is, it's like a domino effect, right?
Yes.
One thing to the other, and then more things and more things and more things. And basically the way I see it is that if you find the skills that are just given to you, those are your gifts, right? This is your edge, and you believe in that. And most people don't believe in their skills. They don't know how to individualize their value. If you just do that, have the courage to not fit in but stand out, that thing can grow exponentially. The impact you have, the income you have, the influence you have, all of those things can grow exponentially. And the shift that you need to make is to say, I think I'm here for a reason. This is my purpose. And I probably have a lot to learn, but I have some skills that are uniquely mine that I can package and present to the world and then serve with all my heart. And that is basically exponential, is from, okay, what's fueling you? Is it stress, creativity, insecurity, survival mode, or creativity, joy, clarity? Then with that, you can find your edge. You can find exactly what you are here to do. And then with that, you can create a brand that is productized, monetized, and you can have so much more impact. You can have that exponential impact.
I love the way that you explained that. That was perfect. That was perfect. The way that you explained that was very eloquent. Dope. What I picked up from you talking about exponential.
You did it well.
I wasn't joking. I'm dead serious. That word, for some reason, it's a new word that I just realized I'm having difficulty saying. So yeah, judge me if y'all want, people. Fine, whatever. We all have something that we ain't good at. It just so happens that
it's totally fine.
Not exponential at saying that one. So, but what I'm noticing from you explaining that was, it sounds like you're helping individuals find what it is that they are good at, better understanding themselves and learning how to monetize themselves. Because I noticed one thing that you said was, if you don't feel like you fit in, then stand out. So it's like we all are a star. It's just a lot of people don't realize they're a star. They don't understand how to really shine that light, you know?
Yeah, and most people most of my clients are very accomplished people, right? Mm-hmm. They're all in some sort of leadership position. They could be pastors or athletes or musicians or CEOs or PhDs or something like that, right? Yeah. So they're all very accomplished. That's not the point. The point is, you can be very accomplished and still not, like, most of who you are is not activated in the thing that you're doing. That's sort of the idea, right? So so you're undervalued, underpaid, underactivated. So you can be very accomplished and be very underactivated at the same time. And that's painful, because it's particularly painful for people like that, because they know their value. They know they have gears. And yet those gears, for some reason, are not working for them, basically, you know? So that's sort of so that's like my favorite problem to solve, because I'm dealing with very gifted people. And from my perspective, like from the outside in, I can go, oh, this plus this plus this equals this. This is how you productize it. This is how you monetize it. This is how you keep your mindset focused on that and believe in yourself and actually fine tune and maybe get more skills that you need to do the thing that you want to do. And for them, they're too close to it, right? So most of us don't actually appreciate the value of what we have for one very simple reason. It's too familiar to them, to us. It's so familiar to us that we don't see the value. And because we don't see the value, we don't know how to productize it. Because we don't know how to productize, we don't know how much to charge for it, because it doesn't feel valuable. You know what I'm saying? So, and almost everybody, with very few exceptions, if you're over 35, let's say, over 30 even, you probably have some sort of mastery that you can hone in and make it better and make it very valuable. It's not that complicated, basically. It is complicated from the inside out, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's the same thing where I tell people it's easy to find faults in yourself. It's a lot easier to find more faults in yourself than most people will find the positives in themselves. And when you're doing something constantly, you don't really think about how much this can benefit the rest of the world. There are some people who actually realize, like, you know what, this can help a lot of people. I should try and do that. And for example, with me, I make pepper sauce, and for the longest time I would like make it just for fun and give it to people who I felt were closest to me, that were in my inner circle at that time.
Yeah, exactly.
And people always told me, like, man, you should sell that, you should sell that. I never wanted to really turn it into a business, because I was like, it's going to take the fun out of doing it, you know, because now it's like I'm not doing it because I want to, I'm doing it because I have to. But there's a lot of things that people told me I should turn into something that's profitable. And I was just like, y'all are trying to turn my me time into somebody else's time. That's how I had looked at it.
Yeah.
But as I got older, I started realizing, you know what, I'm very good at this, and there's a lot of people that end up asking about it and end up turning that into a business. I've got a lot of skills and knowledgeable on a lot of things. However, I'm not fully sure on how to actually turn it into a brand. Like, that's
exactly it, yeah.
I don't really understand the edge. And so, but the thing is I've already branded some of it. That makes sense. So now it's like, okay, cool. If I don't fully understand the edge, did I just set myself up to fail?
I don't think so. No, because it's all about experiments. It's all about pivoting. Like, you change things. You explore the edge by putting things out there.
Yes.
And getting the feedback. Does that make you feel fully alive? Do people respond? Do people just perk up and go, yes, right, that thing? Or is it yes, and it's a little bit confused? Okay, maybe you can refine the edge a bit, and you pivot until you get a lot of yeses. You get people saying, how much? How much do you charge for this? I need that. You know. Okay.
Now, with it, what if you don't get very much feedback? Like, if you ask for feedback, but you're not really getting anything back, or either it feels as if you're pulling teeth just to get feedback, you know?
Well, then it's not landing, right? It's and there's a system and a discipline to it where okay, find a platform where you can find an audience, even if it's an audience of a couple hundred people, which is not complicated to find, right?
Yeah.
Online. Like, that audience can give you feedback. Your friends and family can give you feedback. Hanging out with people, like, go search out the places, the people that are in the circles that you want to be in, right? And get their feedback.
Okay.
So you have to sort of go the general, at least the general direction. I'll give you an example. For example, with music, my first career. I wanted to be in music. I didn't have any demos. I couldn't record any demos at the time. There's no technology to do home stuff, right? Like, you have to get access to a studio. Studios are expensive. So I'm like, I can dance, I can sing. It's sort of unpolished. I don't have any video or audio to show somebody. I can't even audition because there's nothing to audition with. So I'm like, just gonna hang out, see if I can. Where are the musicians? I'm gonna go to clubs, right? And then I'm gonna introduce myself and like schmooze my way into getting to know somebody. So I became sort of friends with 2 or 3 people that were sort of significant. I was the entourage, basically. And I would just hang out at after parties, and I would be like getting the vibe. How they dress, how do they look, how do they behave, who do they talk to, who do they talk to about the things that they care about. And then eventually, like literally at one of those parties, you know, somebody came over to, like, in a crowd. It was like a big after party after a big like sports arena show. Like, so it was probably 100 people in the after party. Somebody comes over, like this short guy goes, "You're an artist?" I'm like, "Yeah." So I looked the part, fake it till you make it, right? And he goes, I have a music studio. If I give you a few like night hours, like free hours, what would you do with that? I'm like, hey, I would record some songs, some demos, maybe you would like them. And he goes, look, who's gonna write the songs? I'm gonna write the songs. Who's gonna write the lyrics? I'm gonna write the lyrics. All right, call me Monday. Give me the phone. I've never written a song or a lyric in my life, okay? Never. I'm like, go home, write some songs and some lyrics, bring it to him. He liked some of it, and that's how I got in. Well, you have to go somewhere first and seek somebody out in general terms. Then you pivot, right? And the first thing you do always sucks, right? Always. So you go from suck to less suck to okay to good. Then you start hitting some resonance with people going, man, this is hot stuff, man. Like, start bobbing their heads in the studio going, this is hot, man. This is cool. Okay, now you have something. Now you make it better. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense. Winnie the Pooh said it the best. Often get to where I'm going by leaving where I'm at. If you don't ever really take a step towards anything, you're not going to accomplish anything. And I talked in a previous episode that one of the things that's holding a lot of people back is fear. Yeah. There's a lot of people who are afraid to even start. And with that, they never go anywhere. And then later on in their life, they're looking back at, well, what if I had did this? Yeah. Where would I be now? Or if I started sooner, where would I be now? So, I mean, yeah, that makes sense. Also, the fact that sometimes you need to take yourself out of the comfortable zone and be uncomfortable just to really seek that feedback to continue to grow.
Yep. I mean, you look, all of us fear. It's the reason. It's not just a reason, it's the reason. It's not outer, sort of inner stuff. And I mean everybody. Part of the reason why, people join my coaching is because I put them in a cohort with nine more people. The cohorts of 10 people each. 9 more people. The minute they land in a cohort of 9 more people who are doing bold, courageous, creative things, they become more bold, more courageous, and less fearful. The minute they are in that company, it's not just me. They're just with other people who are going after it, man. It's awesome.
That's what's up. So I'm going to introduce my first question for you. Ready?
Yeah.
So your life story spans between a refugee, a pop star, and a high-performance coach. How have those vastly different chapters shaped your understanding of purpose and resilience?
All of them have. And I would say, okay, so let me give you an insight into going from entrepreneur, and I'm still doing those things, but focusing on coaching, right? Why do I focus on coaching? So in the season, first of all, purpose is seasonal. It changes with season. It's not static, right? So you have to listen to the spirit and go, okay, what's my assignment right now? So that's one thing. In this season, I was thinking, I know I am very good with helping people, with coaching people, right? Because I've been a pastor for a long time, mostly by vocational, but I've coached Olympic athletes and entrepreneurs and artists and business people. I sort of have the thing, right? People want my input. Okay, that's good. Is it ideal in just leading, let's say, a church? For me, in this season, no, and I'll tell you why. Because if you're speaking to a couple hundred people on a Sunday, most of them will forget what you say by Monday.
Facts.
Right? That's just true, right? The shelf life of a sermon. So the impact is diluted, and it's not a negative. It's just a factual comment, right? I found in myself, okay, I enjoy high impact work with people who are paying very much attention and will take it very, very seriously to change something. That's one thing. The other one is high achievers, right? Why high achievers? Why high performance? Because I'm that guy. I was that guy who has a one hit. Millions of people know my name, and I am clinically depressed. So I know that guy, that business guy, that athlete, that high achiever, that person who's driven to success. I know their motivation from the inside out. I have their name. I can talk to them, and they were like, yeah, you know me, right? So that's a very unique sort of niche, right? A unique ability, and I can, what they say is you're better suited to serve the person you once were, and so that's why I serve, right? So I love that. So that's one more layer, right? What's the other layer? Okay, what do people like that struggle with? They struggle not with that there's not enough opportunity. They don't know what to do with all the opportunities and all the talents they have. So they're super diluted and they're underwhelmed because they know their value is higher than what they're seeing in their life. I know exactly how that looks like, and I know how to create a brand. That was literally my first gig. I'm a nobody with darker skin in a Slavic country, and I know how to make myself stand out, how to create a hit record, how to look, how to dance, how to show myself so it's like undeniable. People will pay attention to me. I know how to do that, right? Okay, so that's another thing. That's the personal brand piece. So basically, you layer those things, right? But for you to be able to even recognize the patterns, right? Another pattern is I've gone through so much stuff, right? And when I coach people and they're fearful, I'm like, let me tell you about fear. Let me tell you about risk. Let me tell you about overcoming mortal danger, instability. The sort of the dip, what they call in the business world, right? The pit of despair when you're in the bottom there. I know how to get you out of this thing. So that's another thing, right? The obstacles, that resilience, all of that, I know how to cultivate that in another person. So I can layer that. So that's my point. Well, you can only do that and create something so unique that the right people will just go to you, will flock to you, will beg you to help them. If you're creative, you have high self-esteem, if you have some space to even think it and package it and offer it as a solution to somebody else. And that's the fuel and the edge part before the brand. Does that make sense?
Makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. That goes right back to the FEB, fuel, edge, and brand.
Yeah.
That is dope. So let me ask you this. In your work with entrepreneurs, creatives, and executives, what do you see as the biggest mindset shift that people need to make to achieve both success and significance?
Well, I think one of them is that you are not your job, right? So you become Say
that one more time for those in the back.
You're not, right? You're not your job. Your identity is not your success. That your identity is deeper, more permanent, more valuable than your in this moment success, right? So if you're your job, that's idolatry. You will lose. You will be crushed by it. And that's how people burn out. That's how people don't know exactly even how to navigate life. They get 2 or 3 divorces, 2 or 3 startups, 2 or 3 divorces, right? That kind of thing. So that's one, is they idolize the status, the success, the job, the hustle. And you cannot idolize anything in this world, right? So that's one. The second one, I think, is purify your fuel. So when I say fuel, it's okay, how do you feel? Why do you feel? Where do you feel that drive, right? We always operate with like good fuel, let's say a desire to serve another being, a desire to create something valuable, that's pure good fuel. You also operate out of other impure fuels. For example, I want to show my dad, who never told me that he loves me, that I'm worthy, or jealousy, or I'm gonna make $1 million because I can show the bully that doesn't even remember my name anymore, right? Who bullied me in school, like resentment, revenge, insecurity. I'm gonna make people love me by being famous. Those are things that will actually distort your talent and your edge and not help you, right? And they can fuel you, they can push you forward, but you will pay for it more than you want to pay.
You said you will pay for it more than you want to pay.
Yeah.
Can you give me an example
of that? Of paying more than you want to pay?
Yeah, paying for it more than you would want to in the long run.
Well, it will
offer the bad fuels.
For the bad fuels, for example, I'll give you how much I paid, right? I come from 2 generations of broken homes. My parents' divorce really wrecked me. It was very hard for me to believe in. I wanted love, but I didn't understand. I was fearful of marriage and commitment, so I would undermine every relationship when it got to that point of seriousness, and I would just act out, and I could act mean, and I would cheat or do something to sabotage. And then one day I was dating this girl. And again, this is impure fuel. Why am I dating this girl? Because I'm a pop star. I'm supposed to be dating runway models. She's a runway model. She's beautiful. She's in the magazines. We look good together and glossy. That's impure fuel, right? So we start dating. It gets serious from her end. I wasn't intending that because I was fearful again. She gets pregnant. We have a baby. I don't know what to do with that. I love my baby, my daughter Diana, and I have a newborn, and I'm freaking out, and she freaks out, and she leaves, and I didn't treat her well at all, and she cuts me off. For 6 years. I was disconnected from my daughter. I got her back when she was 6 years old. and there's miracle after miracle. God is so good, and I got her back, and I got her fully back. I got full custody when she was 12. She moved to the States. She lives here in Texas. We're very close. All of those things I got back. There's so much redemption that happens. But let me tell you something that I'll pay for the rest of my life. My daughter will never have an unbroken family. She will never know what it is to experience a mom and a dad at home faithful to each other since the beginning. Never. She'll have to work through that, get some therapy, get some help, get her world whole again. I'm going to be paying for that for the rest of my life, and the shame of that also never leaves. Yes, I'm forgiven. I'm clear. I've served her with all of my heart every single day since I got her back. But I can never give that part back to her ever. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, there's just some things that to the best of our knowledge right now, we cannot reverse time. We cannot undo wrongs that we have done. Everything that happens is a lesson or a blessing, sometimes both. Mm-hmm. And I mean, one thing that I've noticed going along my journey is I have to take accountability of things that I have done wrong. And with me taking accountability of that, I forgive myself, and I also forgive others that have wronged me as well. But ultimately, I forgive myself for the parts that allowed them to do what it is that they did, or even for my ignorance at the time to do what I did. So, yeah. And then
you can forgive yourself and you can be forgiven, but you will never forget.
Exactly. And I mean, right. That's something that I talked about in previous episodes on the podcast too. I think in like season 2 or 3. When it comes down to situations, as you grow up, I think in the Bible it says, when I was a child, I did childish things. As I became a man, I put those childish things behind me. So, I mean, with it, we cannot say that we learned our lesson, but keep doing it, you know? We can't say that, hey, that was me in the past, but yet you're still doing the same stuff as you were doing in the past. No, that's you. And in the present, you haven't learned. But we also need to reflect on those things and learn what the lesson was also. Yeah. So what do you think was that lesson that you learned by making sure that you treated her right, and even though she's not going to be able to get those times back and see what an unbroken home looks like, and having that love from a young age, what do you think you learned? What did you learn from that situation?
Well, I mean, that's when I became a Christian, from that situation.
Oh, word.
Oh yeah, I was a complete atheist. My parents were communists. Like, I grew up with zero spiritual culture at all. Like, no one, and some of the stuff that I did, I didn't know better either. Like, I don't have a moral framework. No one taught me, what it means to be a faithful husband. I've never seen it modeled in my life. I don't have any examples of that, right? Became a Christian because I met a pastor who exemplified those things. Okay. And I literally told him, how do I get what you have? I have a known hit at the time. Everyone knows who I am. Yeah. And I'm learning at the feet of this pastor, and I'm like, please teach me how to live, right? And he did. And it completely changed the way I look at everything. It reshaped me from the inside out. 4 years later, I meet my wife Deb. I courted her honorably, spiritually, deeply. I pursued her. I married her in front of 1,800 people. There were 1,800 people in my wedding. I've been married for 25 years. We have an amazing marriage. We have 2 more daughters. They grew up in a whole home. Mm-hmm. All 3 of them, when I got Diana back, one of the blessings is that Diana, when I got her back just in time, so she can see Violetta being born, she can see Bella being born. Since birth, they've known each other, right? And when she moved to be with us full time, all 3, I built my life, my business, everything around serving them and being present with them. I never missed one birthday, one performance, one event, ever, not once. And because of that, they have a foundation. Like, they go out to college, they're all out of the house now. They're confident, they're sharp, they're crushing it. They have a base, right? Yeah. And I provided that because of out of what I've learned, out of my repentance, out of my change.
That is You have a true story, sir. You
I
have a
do.
true story. Now, I love how this always happens. It flows into my questions. So you've launched global ventures and missions with lasting impact. How do you balance faith, ambition, and service in your daily decision making and leadership? I want to add this in as well. What did it look like in the beginning, and what does it look like now?
Well, in the beginning, it was all drive and ambition, right?
Hmm.
And it's very simple, actually. Look, uh, I'm gonna go Christian on you. In the beginning,
I mean, you are a
you
Christian.
you're the king of your life, right? And everything you do is for you. You are the center of your life. You decide everything. You have no authority over you. When you become a Christian, you're no longer king. You you submit to the King Jesus. It's a monarchy. It's not a democracy, right? You align your goals with His, your life with His. You seek His assignment for your life. That's a big part of the whole edge thing, right? Is you understand that there's a divine purpose for you, and it's so amazing because you don't just come up with it. No, it's given to you, right? And you can see how Scripture, Old Testament, New Testament, teaches about there's a purpose for you that is not only general for people or men or whatever, right? For nations, but it's also specific. You are given, even in Genesis, it says man was given dominion, right? What is your dominion? You need to find it. And once you find your dominion and you are submitted under authority, the authority of the King over you will speak into your dominion, which means you cannot fail. You cannot fail because it's not yours. It's given to you by a higher power. And if you have that level of confidence, your drive, your inspiration, your joy, your clarity, all of your resources that were given to you are now channeled towards something that you are so solidly in love with, you embrace it, and you have zero doubt. And you have high self-esteem because self-esteem doesn't come from you. It comes from above, right?
And doesn't it say it gave dominion over the land and the sea?
Yeah, that's what it
Okay.
says.
Yeah, I was raised in a Baptist household, so I got fed the Bible often.
Yeah, yeah. So there's amazing business wisdom in the Bible. Amazing, like just off the charts.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, when I was younger, it felt like a lot of fairy tales. But then as you get older, you start to realize, you know what, these are life lessons.
Oh,
These are life lessons. There's a deeper meaning to Jonah in the well. There's a deeper meaning to a lot of things that were happening, like walking around 7 times and then blowing the trumpet. There is also learning obedience. Do not turn and look back. Boom, turn to a solid pillar. I mean, there's a lot of wisdom in there, but when you're young, you're reading it and nobody's really explaining these things.
yeah.
You kind of just push it off because you're like, okay, more fairy tales. Oh,
Yeah. Oh, and you feel like you can't, you're not choosing it, right? So I get that part, obviously.
I mean, I gotta say, like, going to a faith on your own is a lot better than being forced into it.
Yeah, no kidding.
I've noticed that a lot of individuals who are forced into it, they end up running away from it based off of the fact that their heart's not really there.
No, and actually, there's a disadvantage to a second generation Christian. There's an advantage because you're giving this incredible health of wisdom and a structure to it, and obviously depending on how legalistic your home was, et cetera, right?
Yes.
But you have a baseline. Somebody taught you at least what to do, right? No one taught me. The disadvantage, my advantage over the other, is that because no one taught me, I did so much stuff that hurt me so badly that I've tasted the dark side. When you've tasted the dark side and you see the light, you run towards the light. When you grow up in a Christian household, sometimes you don't see the dark side because you were in a safer environment, right? So your urgency, your obedience, your passion is not there, right? So you have to sort of find that one way or another, either by messing up just like I did, or by thinking deeply and exploring it, and then finally connecting. But there's a disadvantage to both, right? Obviously. So my kids, they grew up in a Christian home, so they have to find their passion.
Okay. And that's good. It doesn't sound like you forced it upon them.
No. I mean, they were under my roof. They had certain boundaries, obviously, and then literally when they leave the house, they're free. They're absolutely free to go and be as faithful, as faithless, as wise, or as idiotic as they want to be. And they know that I'm here waiting for them. And I love them regardless, and I'll give them advice regardless. And because of that lack of pressure and that sort of, I didn't hit them over the head. We grew up very much, even as they were growing up, they understood nuance, right? And we discussed things like the whys behind things, right? And we told them stories after story after story.
That's good.
And they saw people being changed, right, and transformed. So they witnessed some of the stuff in their own lives. But now, because of those things, they can mess up. That's totally fine. They can even listen to me and do something different.
Yeah.
And they will still come back and ask for my advice, and they respect me, right? And that's the arrangement that we have with them. Like, we'll never give up on you, and you're free to choose, and you're free to explore, and you need to find your own faith.
Yes, that's good, because I do the same thing with my kids. I openly tell them, if you are curious about everything that I say, do not be afraid to ask why. And that's mainly because of the fact that I want them to work on their critical thinking skills. I want them to be comfortable enough with talking to their parents about things. I don't want them to feel they need to sneak around and do things because their parents might not approve or something. No, talk to me. I want y'all legacy to go further than mine. I don't want y'all to pick up where I left off. I want y'all to go past me.
Yeah,
so
100%.
With that, it's like, I have life lessons that I do on here, and on the other platform I do story time with my kids, where I'll throw create stories. They'll sit down with their eyes closed. Everything starts with black. They use their imagination, start building things and all that. And I'll throw real life lessons out there for them to solve without having to deal with the real life consequences. So I'm teaching them at a young age things that can really happen, but putting it into a way that they can understand. So when it deals with unicorns and stuff for my daughter, or even goblins and gremlins for my son, so that way it's something that's in their head, they remember. So if a situation like that happens in real life, they're like, oh, I remember during story time and the goblins did this and this, the same thing these people are doing right now. Okay, I should probably stay away from them. So that you can find ways to make it to where it's like, all right, cool. These things can really happen, but it would behoove you to make the right decision. Now, I've given you the tools necessary, but just like me, you have free will. You can do what you want. I'm always going to be here and love you regardless. I might be like, yo, what made you think that was a good idea? But I still am always there for you and have your back,
Yeah, good. That's very good.
But we are rolling towards the end of the episode. And with that, I have two final questions. I always end the podcast off with this. The first one is going to be gratitude and what you learned. So I'm going to ask this question and give you the floor for that.
Gratitude and what I've learned. Well, gratitude for second chances. Gratitude for insane opportunities in my life. Just off the charts. I mean, look, my life started as a refugee. I was 5 years old. I was standing outside of a concentration camp holding my mom's hand. She was passing food through a guard to my dad. That's how it started. I've started several companies. I've spoken all over the world in 4 languages. I've produced bands. I've performed in front of millions of people. I mean, I have no complaints, right? What I've learned is that you are here for a reason. Find that reason and serve with all. What do you want to say to the listeners? That's the question. I would say this is a truth that is uncommon, right? It's a little paradoxical, right? Most of us are fearful of failure. Actually, it's fear of rejection. More than fear of failure. It's what the failure brings is rejection. And because we're fearful of failure, we aim, whatever it is that we do, start a new career, write a book, start a business, you sort of aim for the middle. Okay, here's what everybody's doing. I'm going to do this way. And the problem with that is that it reduces, in your mind, it reduces the probability of failure. It's actually not reduces probability of failure because the middle, everybody's doing the middle. The middle is crowded. So instead of doing that, aim high. Aim for premium, aim for unique, aim for special, and see if you can get yourself into a place where you can offer something like that to the world. So it's paradoxical, but aiming high is probably the best thing you can do and the most likely to succeed because that place is less crowded.
Hey, beautiful souls. We love deep conversations about life, love, and spiritual growth. Help us reach more like-minded people. Like, comment, and share to push these powerful episodes through the algorithm. Let's build a community that thrives on wisdom and connection. Find us everywhere. YouTube at Danli_Divine. Facebook and Kick at Divine Time Podcast. And also follow the blog, divinetime.blog. If you're looking for your soul tribe, join our Telegram group, Warriors of Love. Together we rise. Divine Time is now.